Vacuuming behind the corner here. Last week, I went and helped a neighbor with taking her TV off her wall. She wanted it on the ground, and I saw she has got the same kind of floor, but it's well done. It's all even, no cracks between, nothing lifts. It's beautiful, easier to clean too. Won't accumulate more crap underneath to lift it more and make it less likely to settle. So, I haven't shown a video yet of the text between me and John, and part of why I didn't want to work with him anymore in the same room at the same time, which was rarely done, but definitely wasn't going to happen if he wanted to teach me how to do the floors right, is not just that his people's skills were unacceptable for people that work with people, especially the vulnerable sector, but there's also his worth ethics. Guys, there's a lot of jobs where even after I get a letter of reference, where people try to keep me as I resign when I say I'm sorry. I disagree with a lot of what my supervisors are doing. Like, for example, the school in Cantley, Quebec, where that principal, who I'd already heard bad things about, when I resign, let's say like Christia Freeland did, the principal didn't resign after like Trudeau did, It's because, he doesn't care about his community, this principal. He dresses super nice, and he avoids interacting with the youth, and because he's not skilled. And what he does he kind of bullies or gets on the nerves of teachers if he's not away, right? Walking for long times at lunch, wherever he goes. And so, he's not well suited, let's say, to work in education, but even less to have an influential role in it. So, it's not possible for me to have worked with him with painting or floors because it's unacceptable. His work is totally unacceptable, John, and it's sad to see this. And when somebody this week says to a guy who also has, the guy that came back, and he feels really stressed and everything he has to do, and if he's going to get paid, and Bruce, he got hurt, and then I'm his punching bag, and he knows I've been helpful without getting paid here, and yet he'll do that. It's ridiculous. The people's skills again are just, but his work ethics, when I've already, another time I was helping him with heavy boxes such as floor stuff, I said, oh, don't lift it like that, you're going to get hurt. And he stubbornly wants to continue, right? I have to almost push him out of the way to make sure he doesn't get hurt at his age and with his lifting techniques or stubbornness. So people's attitudes are definitely something that need adjustment. And, that's one of my specialties when I teach life skills, is accountability and transparency are very much involved in such teachings. Yeah, I'm not finished yet, but I'm doing something you're gonna like. I'm elevating one of its tunnels that he's gonna enjoy. Hey, okay, hey, quiet. So anyways, to finish up is you can't help those that don't want to be helped, and that stubbornly will not just be individuals that work against you, but gang up with other individuals to work against you. So the devolution of our species is not because of a 2012, end of the world kind of prophecy that some people think is what a scientist called Murdoch, who's been assessing lowering of IQ in our species around the world, different age groups. It's HSD, right? It's what I've been talking about as a grand unification theory, and it's been happening way before that. So one thing you have to realize about evolution is well, I'll tell you about it in another video. And it's something that we should be able to do. And obviously, most of you, when I describe what it is, you'll say that's not what's been happening with our species. So of course, a species would devolve without doing those things, which is majoritively what our species is doing. Those things that create a devolution. So that's why I'm now taking a break, being with my best buddy here, and avoiding helping more people. Now, it's only a handful or so It's not, it's less than half, definitely, of the tenants here that are toxic towards me for reasons that are inaccurate, but they don't like, and they don't like for reasons that are shameful, and they'll be born and die as these counter anti-community people, primates that complain about the state of the world while they help devolve it. And you couldn't drag them to a philosopher's cafe for them to understand these principles in a discussion as adults, because even this week at badminton, one guy who hits the net say, okay, because the guy who says he's not a leader but acts like a leader, but he's really, I don't think if he was a leader he'd know what a leader should act like at badminton. But I say, didn't we talk about this last time, that let's just all reduce arguments by applying the rules of the road, the rules of badminton, and really, there's plenty of people that say that they're introduced to badminton as younger kids, let's say at 10 years old, and sometimes at 12 if they've been mentored properly with their parents and a good quality coaches. At 12 years old, they're already better than people that have been playing for decades in these clubs here. And also at 10, they already knew the rules of badminton. So when somebody hits the net while the rest of us who know it's a fault would say that's a fault, we lost a point, but that person gets to say we're all here to have fun as an excuse for their intellectual laziness and their immaturity, and then others enforce that because they're similar to that, then there's not enough people to form an adult club that is majoritively played by adults, So it's a juvenile club, but for adults. And people don't realize that, okay, so what's this person's disability that they can hit the net without it being a fault? Because I'd like to see that doctor's note, or I'd like to talk to their parent or guardian, which are, parents probably dead at the age of some of these stubborn older people. So it's shameful, and yet that's who parents want to babysit their kids sometimes for free, is these toxic, immature older people that have never undergone the human maturation process. And this is what I'm stuck with. So sometimes it's nice to go with other land mammals, such as my buddy here, and spend time with them because they don't suffer from this. I see them learn. I see dogs learn. Dogs are more domesticated, so they're more like people, so they're not as naturally able to evolve like our ancestors were, or wolves would be. But cats are more slightly immune to domestication, so they can keep evolving and learn things and be great to interact with if you're a sentient and sapient creature like myself. But it's pretty sad, the state of the human condition, and we'll say we're a developed country, but you can go to countries that are very, very poor who have access to this, and people without a trade certificate can do a better job at this. So you got to ask yourself, are we being honest about who we are and what it means to be a developed country? Because right now, in the elections in Canada right now, nobody's having the conversation that during Earth Day, I wonder if somebody will mention it during their election campaign, is all we're doing is avoiding the conversation of the Anthropocene and the climate emergency, because we're all wanting to say, oh, industry, we gotta push industry more and be independent in this way. And people just think of that, right? They think that to solve economic issues is to get into more economic trouble at the expense of the things they don't want to talk about, like breathable air, drinkable water, and having their kids know how to grow their own food. That nobody's talking about this. Places to do that, let's say, instead of just lowering the price of eggs, instead of just having places where communities would have chickens or whatever, and more community gardens. So again, our species, including Canadians, during this time of election, you can assess whether what they choose to talk about can be measured as being connected to reality, and being either productive or harmful to the next generation. And unfortunately, Canadians are as harmful to the next generation of their own youth, their own offspring, as any other culture.